Hey dev team, welcome back to Flutter with Drag. We're going to start a new series, a new app, and this is going to be a little bit different to the previous ones, mainly because I don't know what the finished app is going to look like yet, because the app hasn't even been started. I don't always suggest this is a good idea, but sometimes when you have an idea for an app, you just want to start coding and trying it out, and you have a rough idea in your head how it's going to work. But you don't spend a lot of time, especially as developers, designing the layout. As I say, this isn't necessarily best practice, but it is factual. It is what happens. And so I wanted to create an app, and I wanted to do it with you on the channel, where we start with nothing and we end up with something. And what we're going to end up with is probably different to how my current vision is, but we'll see as we go along. Now, when I have an idea for an app that I want to do, i.e. not one that I'm being commissioned to do for someone else, but something I want to do, I tend to just start hammering out some code and make a very basic prototype version of the app, which doesn't look fancy at all. I don't put any effort into the design side of it, just the functionality. And then I get friends and family to test it out for me, get their feedback, and inevitably things change when you come back with user feedback. Apps that are designed where you're starting with a design have already gone through that process with people, being interviewed, talked to, the designers testing things out on people and interviewing people and doing market research and all the rest of it. Well, we're not doing that. We're just going to do it and build it. And once we've built the app, then we'll go back and prettify it in some way. Now, I'm not a designer. I'll lay that out straight away. I am not a designer. What I tend to do if I have an app that is going to become a commercial app is once I've got the functionality working, I then hand it to a designer and ask a user interface designer to make the app look pretty, or to give me the design, and then I'll go back, put the code in to actually make it look pretty. So this is an app that we're going to create, and the basic concept is very simple. It's going to be a quiz app. It's going to be an app where people can ask questions, or not people can ask questions, people can answer questions, essentially. The app will ask the questions, people will answer. This app could be useful for a number of different things. Later on, it could be a gaming app where there's a quiz, and it could be linked to a database where highest scores are kept, things like that. It could be used within a commercial environment as a training app to make sure people have got, I don't know, their health and safety requirement, their knowledge in place, and that sort of thing. And that can be, recorded. There's all sorts of different reasons that an app like this could exist. And I'm going to design this app in such a way that it wouldn't be too difficult to branch it off and go the different directions at the end of the day. But we're going to start with the basics. We're going to start and just see where we go. I welcome your feedback with the comments, whether this is a good idea or a bad idea. But we are going to go with it for a bit anyway and see what happens, and hopefully we'll end up with a finished app in a not too distant future. So one thing I do know is the app is going to make use of the block pattern. I want to do that. Many reasons for that. One of them is that it's good practice to decouple the presentation layer and the data logic layer, business logic layer and the data layer. That's good. And it also means our app will be fairly easy to expand should it ever do so. So we need a few extensions installed. I've got VS Code, and this is the version of Flutter I'm currently working with. It's the latest version as of now. And I have these extensions installed. I've got Block by Felix Engelov. This is going to be very useful for us as we go along. I have the extension Dart Data Class Generator by Bendix Mar. That's going to save us a lot of typing later on. I have the extension pubspec assist. That will help with installing our dependencies and our extensions. I have an extension called Live Server, which will allow us to very quickly run a local web server, because one of the things that I anticipate happening is that our data for our app will be coming from a remote server. So while we're developing, we'll just use a local server for that. And I'm going to be using this extension prettifier.json because I know we're going to have JSON in it, and so this will help us just tidy things up as we go along. I think those are the main extensions I've got, and that should be all you need. But if I missed anything, then I'll let you know as we go along. So let's start this app. I'm going to start, as with all apps, by creating the app. So Flutter create. Okay, here's our brand new project, and let's just open main.dart, and straight away I'm going to run this in the emulator. The first time always takes a little bit longer to compile, so we'll just hang on a sec and get this running. And here we go, there we go. Our emulator is looking good. Our code is working. We're good to go. So let's start our app. And to do that, I am going to just delete, I'll just delete everything in the my app and recreate it. So we'll create a stateless widget called my app. Okay, so that is going to be a material app. Material app. And the material app is going to have a home. The home is going to be a scaffold. And that'll do. Let's save that. And we've got our initial setup. Excellent. Now we've got some blue underlines here. That's because of constants, and you can see here it prefers const with constant constructors, and I prefer to get rid of those warnings while we're developing, and I will come back and put those warnings back in later once we've finished and we're trying to tidy up the app, but the blue squiggly things annoy me. So what the quickest way to get rid of these is to do a quick fix and to ignore preferred const constructors for this line. Well, I've just done it for this file, but it's okay. What we want to do is copy this word here, this flag, and come over to our analysis options, YAML, and under the rules I'm just going to paste that in and set that to false, just to get rid of that warning for now. We can delete it from the top here. That's just the way I prefer to work, and we'll put them all in later on once we finish messing about and we understand what we're doing. Okay, so the app. I also want to get rid of this debug show checked mode banner from the top right hand side, so I'm just going to set that to false as well, and let's get rid of that. Okay, scaffold. Let's put an app bar in. And we're going to put an app bar with a title of my quiz app. I'll spell quiz right, I don't know where the double Z came from. There we go. Starting to come together already. The body of this scaffold is just going to be some text for now, which explains what's going to be on this page. So on this page, I'm going to have a list of available quizzes. And that's that. Okay. So this page is going to be my home page. But before we go any further, we're going to want to have a list of available quizzes on this page. And so to do that, we need to probably think about what a quiz is. So in our libs folder, I'm going to come and create a new folder called models. And in there, I'm going to create a file called quiz quiz_model.dart. And we're going to create a model for what a quiz is. So that's quiz. So let's think about this. We're going to want a name for a quiz. So give it a name, such as my sports quiz or general knowledge quiz or quiz about the 1960s or whatever it's going to be. Probably, just to be sensible, we'll probably want an ID for the quiz as well. A unique ID number for it, or an ID code or something. We're probably going to want a description. And I think for now that's enough. Apart from the obvious, we need some questions. So we're going to have a list, because there's going to be more than one question for each quiz. Otherwise, it's not much of a quiz. So I'm going to make a list of question called questions. Okay. So that then gives us the trouble. What is a question? Well, let's think about that. Question. Well, I think a question needs the actual text of the question. What is the question? And for our app, for now, I think what we're going to mostly have is multi-choice answers. So we're going to need a list of answer. They're going to be the choices. What's an answer going to be then? Let's think about that. Oops, lowercase class. Well, again, I think we need a string with the text. What is the choice? And pretty obviously we need some way of knowing whether it's the correct answer or not. So a bool called correct. I think that will do it. Okay, so let's separate those into different files. So I'm going to create two more files, one called question model.dart and one called answer model.dart, and we will take from our page, we will cut and paste the relative class into the section, the right file, like so. And I'm also going to create what's called a barrel file called models.dart, and that's going to just export all the models we've got. So we're going to export the quiz model, we're going to export the question model, and we're going to export the answer model. Just save that. So coming back to our answer model and working backwards, we need to create constructors for all of these now, and this is where one of the extensions comes in. By hovering over it and hitting Control dot, we can just go down to generate constructor, and by doing that, that's going to put the constructor in for us. So we can save the answer model and come to our question model. We need to import the models file now, because that's where answer is coming from, and again we're going to generate the constructor for that. And then for the quiz model, once again we're going to import the model. Why is that not working? because I haven't put question here. This should be question model, quiz question and answer. Right, I was trying to work out why I couldn't import it. But we want to import the models.dart there and create or generate the constructor for that. Okay. Next, we want to put in a quiz. And instead of writing a large quiz, I have just got some that I've copied from a website which has a few questions. So I'll just paste those in now. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a list of quizzes, which we're going to call quiz data. And for now, we're just going to hard code this in so we can use it and get our programming done. And later on, this will be moved to databases and things. So our first quiz is going to need to be, we need a name for it. So let's just call this general knowledge 1. We need an ID, so I'm just going to call it Gen1. We need a description, so this is the quiz description, and we need to put these on different lines so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and just for auto completion, I'm going to cut this out of here again, but just know I'm copying and pasting these from a file that I've got, and it's in that format currently. So list of questions. So we're going to have a question, and we're going to take the text. So first question is, what does the CPU stand for? And the choices are a list of answers. So let's put the first one in. And the first one is Central Processing Unit, and that is correct. I'm just going to copy that twice and copy the other two answers in. And of course they're false. Okay, so there's our first quiz, but we need a few more questions. Yeah, so I'm just going to copy the question and paste it in again and do some copying and pasting. So originally Amazon products only sold what? Choice, it's probably quicker to type it. Music, books, clothes, and furniture. Well, the correct answer was books, so that one needs to be true. The others need to be false. What is the name of the British scientist? And of course you can put whatever questions you want in here on whatever topic you want. And Fred Flintstone. So Tim Berners-Lee is correct for that one. And then a final question. In which year was electronics company Nintendo founded? And the answers are 1975, 1981, or 1889. And rather surprisingly, 1889 is the correct one. Company apparently, I didn't believe that myself, so I looked it up. Apparently made playing cards of a type, Japanese playing cards. Okay, so there's our quiz data. Right, now we can come back to our main page. So a list of available quizzes. Well, if we want that, we're going to need a list view. The word list is our clue there. So list view builder, and we're going to return from our list view builder. Let's just put in some space in here. A list tile. Okay. And our list tile is going to have a title of quiz data at the index we're currently in. What do we call it? Name. Of course, that needs to be in a text widget. And we also need to tell our list view builder item count, and the number of items in this list view builder is going to be the quiz data dot length. So for however many items in our quiz data, i.e. we've got one quiz, return a list tile with the name. So if we look at that now, we can see that's working, sort of, because we don't need it in speech marks. Of course, it's data. Okay. So let's come back to our quiz model, and let's copy the entire quiz and paste it 2 more times, and just change the title to General Knowledge. I'm working from the bottom. General Knowledge 3, General Knowledge 2. Save that, and when we refresh our app, we have our questions. Excellent. So with our tile, what do we want to happen when somebody clicks on it? Well, we want them to go to the quiz. So we're going to do on tap navigator dot push. We're going to push a route, and the route we're going to push is a material page route, which takes a builder, and we're going to just get rid of the emulator so you can see this. I don't think you can. We're going to push it on a new page, and we're going to call that the quiz page, which doesn't exist yet. Okay, let's save that, and let's, in our lib folder, now create another folder called pages, and a new file called quizpage.dart, and this is going to be a stateless widget called quizpage, and import material. So this is going to have a scaffold and a body of just text for now, quiz page. Save that, come over to our main and import that quiz page. So now when we click on any of our links, we should go to that page, which we do. Okay, let's go to our quiz page and work on that. So we're going to have an app bar here, and the app bar is going to have title, text, and what I'd like it to be is the name of the quiz. So how do we do that? Well, let's load a quiz in. When we create this widget, let's load a quiz, which we'll call quiz, And for now, it's just going to equal the first quiz in our quiz data. So the quiz data we built, this is in the quiz model. This, we're going to take the first element, remembering that lists are counted from 0. So this is the 0th quiz, this is the first quiz, and this is the second quiz. So here we're going to create a new variable which is of type quiz, and we're just going to take the first one. And instead of typing name of quiz there, we can just type quiz name. Save that. There we go, general knowledge 1. Now, this I would like to have when the quiz starts. I want a page which is basically an introduction. So basically it's going to be the quiz.description. Yeah. And then we're probably going to want a start button to enable us to go forward, but we'll worry about that later. Now, because this bit here is the introduction, there's going to be more, we're going to make it pretty, we're going to put graphics and stuff in later. But we then want this to change when we start the quiz. So we click a start button, we want it to change. So let's wrap this with a column for now and just put in button, which for now does nothing but has the text start, just so we know what we're doing. So all of that is going to become its own widget, and I'm going to hover over the column, select the column, Control Dot, and extract the widget, and I'm going to call this quiz intro. I'm going to save that. Now, because this quiz itself is going to have a number of different widgets and a number of different things, in the Pages folder, I'm going to create a new folder, which I'm going to call quiz. And I'm going to move this quiz page into that folder. And it wants to refactor, will allow it to do that. But in that folder, I'm also going to create another folder called widgets. And the first widget we're going to create is this one. So I'm going to create a new file called quiz_intro.dart. And from the quiz page, I'm going to take the quiz intro and pop it into the quiz intro page. We need to import the material, so we've got it all there. And we need this quiz now imported. And we can do that from importing the models. Okay. And now here we can import our quiz intro, and we're back. Okay, there's our quiz intro done. Let's take that quiz intro, and I'm going to copy and paste that and rename that to quiz in progress. So this is going to be the page that happens when the quiz is in progress, and we've clicked the start button. So I'm going to rename this quiz intro here, and by holding Control D I can select both of the quiz intros, and I'm going to rename this quiz in progress. Come back to our quiz page and change that to quiz in progress. Okay, so now we've got this quiz in progress, and here we don't want the quiz descriptions. What we want when we build here is the questions, and so we need to get the first question. So let's do what we did before, and this time we can get from the quiz questions, we'll just get the first question. And so the text isn't going to be description, it's going to be the question dot text. We then don't need a button, but what we do need is a list of the options. So again, we're going to create a list view builder, and the item count for this one is going to be quiz questions length, and the builder is going to be returning a list tile again, and in this tile we want the title to be text with the question choices index dot text. So what's this doing? Well, for every question that's in the quiz, we're going to send a list tile, and for the first time this goes round, index is going to be 0, and it's going to take the 0th index, so the first question, and give us the text. Now if we save that, we'll probably get a error. Yeah, we've got an out of bounds error basically, because list view builder takes up as much space as it possibly can, and because it's in a column it can't work that out. Quickest way to fix that is just to wrap that in an expanded and refresh that, and it should be quiz questions choices dot length. Whoa, question choices length. My mistake. Right. So now when we come back here, we get our question. So what does CPU stand for? We'll be able to answer that. Okay, and then the final one I want is if we come to the quiz intro and copy and paste that again, and I'm going to rename this to quiz finished. Again, change both of these to quiz finished. Don't need an elevated button, don't really need the column, but I'll leave it in for now. And we'll just put well done, you have finished the quiz. Okay, now this blue line is the other const that I want to get rid of. So I'll just do quick fix and for this line, and again I'm just going to copy this into my analysis options and set that to false as well. And we will take both of those out later on, but for now it's fine. So there is our layout of the app. Our app will start, we will choose the quiz we want to do, we will then have an intro page, we will click start and we'll get the question page, we will answer the questions and we'll get to a finish page. And that is the stage we're going to get to in the next episode. So I'm going to keep these ones shorter, I think, if I can, and I will see you next time. If you've enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I hope you find this interesting way of doing things, and I hope you learned something. We'll see you soon, Dev Team. Take care. Bye now.